Earlier today, this car right here, the Shady Grady Racing number 15 for the kid Carson Lofton, a regular with the ZMAX Cars Tour in the late model stock car class. He's one of those championship contenders, but he loves coming back to the modifieds, and he's a third-generation modified racer. He's hoping to win the Pace-O-Matic Pole Award here today, but there's so many storylines throughout what we saw in practice today, and we actually had some people who had some trouble earlier today. The number 24 car for Joey Braun, a championship contender here with the Smart Modified Tour powered by Pace-O-Matic, and he had trouble underneath the hood. I'm told that team is going back to North Carolina, going to get another power plant and possibly come back and put that in the car to be ready for tomorrow's race.
That's the great thing about not being too far from where everybody's home place is around that Charlotte area, so that they can make that drive home tonight and bring that new car with the new engine back up and be ready for tomorrow.
Another driver who had some difficulty in practice earlier today, and he has a good machine with the Hillbilly Racing number 79 machine for David Hill and his team. But you know, if you look at Jonathan Cash, he was expected to be a contender here. He has some top 5 finishes at South Boston Speedway, but there sits the number 79 car, and David Hill is the gentleman with the gray hair on the right side of the screen. They've been up underneath the hood trying to figure out what is wrong with that race car. Same race car that they had a couple of weeks ago in Anderson, South Carolina, with a brand new body on it. And the question is, as I look at it now, it appears as though that 79 will not be coming out for qualifying, but we'll see if they can muster up enough whatever they need to fix what the problem is underneath the hood.
It's such a shame too, because that is a beautiful race car. They changed the paint scheme a little bit to now primarily white, and it just looks fantastic.
But nobody had more problems in practice earlier today than another beautiful race car, the number 14 with the gold leaf lettering on a black modified. It was early in practice. Watch coming off of turn number 4 to the left side of your screen, and he loses it a little bit, slams the outside wall, and that right front tire breaks the tethers and goes rolling about 25, 30 feet from that race car. But a hard impact for Craig Lutz here today. Jake Lutz. Craig Lutz is another modified driver, but good thing is that he walked away. Let's get more on this story with our pit reporter, Derek Perniciglio.
Yeah, Bob, you're absolutely right. It was a really hard impact for Jake Lutz earlier in the day in practice. First, are you okay, and what happened?
Yeah, I'm okay. Safety equipment did its job. You know, that was probably the 3rd or 4th lap of that session, and I just went into turn 3 and 4, and you know, no warning sign or anything. Just got it loose. I don't know if I de-wedged it on a bump, and you know, overcorrected it in the wall. So, you know, we'll go home and I'll start stripping it, and you know, we'll see how bad it is. But yeah, we're all good.
Was it a mechanical failure?
I don't know. Everything's broke on it, so it's hard to judge. I don't want to make an excuse, so yeah, I think I just overcorrected it. And, like I said, I didn't have much of a warning sign, so by the time I really was able to catch it, I was already headed to the wall. So it's really unfortunate to start the season this way, but I want to thank all the guys that came down and all the crew and everybody that's here to support us, our sponsors, Anastasia Trucking, Washtronics, Car Wash Equipment, Tim Riley, who helps us out, Mancuso Design, County Line Stone. Just really unfortunate to start the year this way, but we'll rebound and get back to it.
Well, unfortunately, you can hear the dejection in Jake Lutz's voice. He's going back to New York early, Bob, but he does love this racetrack, and he does want to come back and compete more with the Smart Modified Tour.
Another thing that you can hear is some of the local division practice going on. Tomorrow, we will have the Centra Health late model stock cars on the racetrack. That will be on our FloRacing broadcast. They are practicing right now, but getting back to Jake Lutz a little bit, he was disappointed. Says he loves South Boston Speedway. Had a big win at the end of last year with the Race of Champions 250 for that modified series there, and that's one of the most legendary races in America in terms of tour-type modified racing. But it was interesting to hear him talk about he really believes it was just an overcorrection mistake. And I went up in the flag stand during practice today, and I saw a lot of people hit that bump off of turn number 4 and really get sideways coming off the corner, because that is a treacherous spot here at South Boston.
Yeah, the bump was really bad. Also, just both turns in general, you were able to tell all the drivers didn't have full control of the race car. A lot of them were fighting it. I saw Patrick Emmerling at one point in 3 and 4 slide the car all the way up to the wall because he hit a bump in the middle of the turn, able to save it, but this track has been treacherous for the drivers.
And this is race number 3 for the season on the Smart Modified Tour powered by Pace-O-Matic. And here's a look at the point standings. Danny Bone and Brandon Ward, they won the first 2 races of the year, and because of that, they are leading the point brigade coming into this 3rd event of the season. Jake Crum has been pretty consistent. In fact, the top 3 drivers at the points, the only drivers who have led laps so far this year. Burt Myers had a good podium run at Anderson, South Carolina a couple of weeks ago. He's in the top 5 in points, as is Ryan Newman. Newman with a couple of top 5 finishes as well. Ryan Newman hoping to contend for that championship once again like he did last year when he had 3 wins to his credit.
Yeah, and I want to highlight Jake Crum a little bit because both races so far this season, he's encountered some issues, and he's able to bounce back from them, and it shows with the 3rd place in points right now of just how persistent he has been to make sure he gets the most out of that race car.
And we are a little bit behind in terms of the schedule because of some of those mishaps earlier today. Definitely delayed the practice session, and that has pushed qualifying back to 5:20 here today for the Smart Modified Tour powered by Pace-O-Matic. There's the guy everybody is gunning for here today. He's got a big old target on his back because that 15, the Steve's Tire and Automotive race car for Carson Lofton, the teenager, quickest earlier today here at South Boston Speedway. We'll take a quick break in the action here as late model stock car practice continues. We're getting ready for Pace-O-Matic Pole Award qualifying for the Smart Modified Tour at South Boston Speedway in Southern Virginia. Since 1957, South Boston Speedway has been thrilling fans in the Mid-Atlantic, right along the East Coast in Southern Virginia. And today, it's the Smart Modified Tour powered by Pace-O-Matic and a great field of over 30 modifieds. Wicked-looking machines lined up right by the inside retaining wall, getting ready for qualifying here today. One of those drivers that everybody has their eye on drives the 7VA here in the Smart Modified Tour. Luke Baldwin, a former winner of this event. He's standing by now with Derek.
That's right, Luke Baldwin down here with this familiar number 7 NY machine. Had a little trouble earlier in the day. They had some mechanical trouble, only got on the track for a few laps. You've only been out there a few times, but how does the car feel in that short time you've been on the track?
Well, actually, we worked on it a lot, made a ton of laps in practice today, and then after practice was over, that's when we found our issue. And so we worked on it a ton, was fighting the balance really, really hard, and just kept working, and found the problem. So now we have no idea what we got. So Neil's just kind of guessing, throwing a little bit at it, and hoping we're still good, and we can match what we've been in the past couple of years.
What does that do for your strategy for qualifying?
I'm sorry?
What does that do for your strategy for qualifying?
I don't know. I think the first lap can be the fastest here, so I can't really take anything and try to learn the first lap. I really just have to get everything I can get out of it in the 2 laps that we got. So, we're just going to hope we have a fast race car and hope I get everything it's got.
Well, Luke Baldwin hopes that a Hail Mary run will move him up to the front of the qualifying order today in South Boston.
We saw him practicing earlier today. Great looking machine with that Pace-O-Matic car. There is the blue and white number 25 for Danny Bone. And Danny, with that impressive performance in Anderson, South Carolina a couple of weeks ago, Danny Bone could be a force to be reckoned with. He would love to become a king tomorrow at South Boston Speedway.
Ever since Caraway last season, Danny Bone has just been a true force at the front of the field. And I think it's kind of scared a little bit of the other drivers just because Danny Bone's been able to be so consistent, but he's been so fast while he's been consistent. And when he's winning races, he's leading a whole lot of laps.
And speaking of leading laps, in his career at South Boston Speedway, Danny Bone has led 162 laps. Joey Coulter has got a couple of top 5 finishes at South Boston Speedway in tour-type modified racing in the past. He's run a super late model here with the old Pro All-Star Series as well, and that race car in tech line right now. Harold Holly standing near the front of that race car. Veteran wrench, former NASCAR Busch Series Championship crew chief, now turning the wrenches on Joey Coulter's machine.
And we saw Coulter be pretty fast in both practices so far today. It's just going to be seeing where he can qualify because we know Coulter kind of has that bad qualifying that leads into him having a really good race because he has the raw speed. He just can't put those 2 laps together. So it's going to be interesting to see what that 02 does in this 520 qualifying for the 125 lap race tomorrow.
Coulter 4th quick earlier today in practice. This gentleman right here, the 15-year-old kid, Paulie Hartwig, the 3rd, 23rd quick. Paulie a little bit under the weather here, coming in that Jerry Cradle number 20 machine. This is a car that he drove to victory lane during the World Series at New Smyrna Speedway in Florida Speed Week. So Paulie Hartwig, who finished 6th in this race 1 year ago, hoping to become a king at just 15 years old, Derek.
Sorry about that. We're just getting the mic turned on here. Paulie Hartwig sitting with me on pit road in the number 20 car. You've won down there in New Smyrna with that car. You've had some good runs with it. How is it running today, and do you think you got a shot at the pole?
It's been good, but we just got to find a little bit more speed. But yeah, I got a lot of confidence to qualify good, and we'll just see what we got. Hopefully, we got a good spot for tomorrow. This last year we qualified 26th, and hopefully we just qualify better than that, and just start up front and save our stuff for tomorrow.
Are there any big key factors of getting around this racetrack or how you run this place?
Just driving hard, and that's how it is here. It's a lot of grip, and you can probably go hard the whole race, but that's all I got, and I don't think you'd have to drive in that hard. But my dad's telling me everybody's driving in deep, and then I guess we're gonna try it out today, and we'll see what we qualify.
Well, we're gonna see if driving it in deep works for Paulie Hartwig in that number 20 machine.
The kid is just so talented. There's another talented driver, Austin McDaniel, two-time late model stock car champion at Hickory Motor Speedway. The Smart Tour goes to Hickory in early April for the Hickory 100. Bobby Meismer, by the way, the gentleman walking there with the hat on, a former Smart competitor as well, turning the wrenches on this race car owned by Kevin Hughes. So Austin McDaniel had a top 10 finish in his Smart debut last year at Tri-County Speedway. But getting back to Hartwig a little bit, I mean, he captured America's heart during that New Smyrna, Florida Speed Week span. He had a win in the Tour Type Modifieds, the championship, and 2 wins in Crate Modifieds. The kid is just flat out good. He's got a lot of speed, comes out of New Jersey, and that's some tough racing ranks around that New Jersey coast.
You can't forget about who he beat to win down there, too, in the Tour Type mods. Beating Ron Silk on that pure pace, just able to run away from him, multiple restarts, still able to get that jump. So Paulie Hartwig III is very talented, and it's going to be really fun to see what he can do today and tomorrow.
There is former Daytona 500 winner Ryan Newman in the Bass Pro Shops Capital Automotive Group #2. Randy Renfro, a former wrench in the big leagues of NASCAR, dialing in this race car for Ryan Newman, and that has been a potent combination. Ryan Newman and Randy Renfro, they're a threat no matter what racetrack we go to.
It's been a very consistent start to the season. Newman's been running in that around top 5 to top 10 position all season long so far, and now you have the biggest race of the year arguably, and this is where you really have to step up and try to get that first place.
Ryan Newman, one of the championship contenders, but so is the car that's parked right behind him in the 04 for Brandon Ward, standing by with Derek.
You're absolutely right, Bob. Championship contender is exactly what Brandon Ward wants to be this year. Their plan is to fight for the Smart Modified Championship in 2026. The car looked really good in practice. How do you think it's going to go in qualifying?
Well, we hope good. I mean, the car's been really good in practice all day. It's been good in qualifying trim all year at the previous 2 races. So hopefully we got her dialed in to make a good 2-lap run here and get us up front just to start this thing. I think track position is going to be important here, so we definitely want to get a good qualifying run in.
Practice during the day, had the sun over the track. Now we've got cloud cover. Everything's kind of cooling down. What do you think that's going to do to the car?
I mean, I really don't know. Like you say, the sun's been out all day, so we'll have to see here in a few minutes. It's going to be the same change for everybody. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes.
That's Brandon Ward in the Polaris Off-Road. KevinSaysYes.com, number 04, guys.
Brandon Ward, a 7-time winner in Smart Modified Tour competition. Look at this place. It's just flat out beautiful. Beautiful grandstands. These grandstands expected to be full tomorrow. There is Carson Dijon Tommaso, another one of those New Jersey drivers. He actually works for Junior Motorsports in Mooresville, North Carolina. Moved down a few years ago. Has always got some speed, but this is his first race of the year. Had hoped to run full time, but it's nice to see Karsten D back with us.
And I talked to him a little bit in between practices, and he's just excited to be here. Between the competition, the stakes of this race, there's just so much at stake, and he's so excited to be able to be here and compete to try to get that win.
Carson Dijon Tommaso, just one of more than 30 cars that will be qualifying here today at this racetrack. We mentioned the grandstands here. 10,000 people can fit in the grandstands here. There is trackside parking all the way around this place as well. There is Danny Bone's machine. Mike Smith, they affectionately call him Andretti, is the car owner on this car. And the unique story about this particular race car, it's a 2011 chassis, Troyer chassis, one of the older cars in the field, but it's got a 2008 clip on it. And you see Danny Bone with the BKA Properties uniform right next to Mike Smith, chatting with FloRacing's Matthew Dillner as well. And this car, no matter how old it is, he's got it hooked up. This thing is fast.
Yeah, the car could be as old as you can imagine. As long as it's fast, that's all that really matters. And Danny Bone has been fast every single week so far in the season and has just been a constant threat ever since he came back in Caraway last year.
Nice to see Chris Pastriak here in the 5CT, that famous race car. His dad made famous in the New England area for so long. And ironically, I talked to Chris earlier today, and I said, hey, man, you got something to live up to here. He goes, what's that? I said, you know, your dad actually finished back in the day. Charlie finished second, runner-up in an event here years ago with Tour Type Modified competition. He goes, I know, he rubs it into me all the time. But the Pastriak family with Chris's uncle, late Uncle Carl as well. They've been around modified racing for so long. Chris did not have the car underneath him that he wanted earlier today in practice, but he's one of those veteran guys that can put the car up front late in the race.
Yeah, as you mentioned, it is a long race, the longest race of the season. So it's going to be awesome to see, even if the car's not working like he wants to, he's going to be able to have that time to work through the field.
So we go from the 5CT to an interview with Derek with the 1CT, Stephen Copsic.
That's right, down here with Stephen Copsic, former winner of the Spring Sizzler, drives the number 1, went to second quick in the last practice session, and how's the car?
It's driving pretty good. I don't know. We'll see what we got here. There's a lot of good competition, so just happy that we made the trip to come race down here.
With everyone being on kind of an equal playing field today, being this the first time that they're coming to South Boston, what are some of the tricks or what are some of the best ways to get around this track?
It was pretty wild in practice. I think the track kept changing pretty drastically and just took some big swings. And, I think that's the only advantage that you can kind of create for yourself is to try and just keep trying stuff until you hit on something. And I don't know. I can't tell if we hit on something or if we'll see. So.
Well, hopefully that'll be the fast enough point that'll put you on the top of the pole.
Yep, we'll see what happens.
Okay,
hey
that's
Derek.
Stephen Copsic. Go ahead, Bob.
I got a question for him. Don't let him go anywhere.
Hold on, Stephen. Bob's got a question
because
for you.
I understand that this car was at the powder coater. They got it from the powder coater just last week and had to prepare the car to come down here for South Boston.
He was asking about the car being at the powder coater just last week and getting it ready for this race.
Oh, yeah. Like a week ago Monday, so maybe a little more than a week, but it's all good. I'm happy with how it came out. My goal was to get it to this race. I didn't want to miss that goal, so we made it happen. We got a good team behind us. Wannick Motorsports gives us everything we need to go run, and just can't thank these guys enough. These guys that are here busting their butts working on this thing, and we'll see what we got.
That's Stephen Copsic, the driver of the number 1. They just recently got this car together, and they're hoping that's a good omen that'll get them to victory lane.
Yeah, brand new race car for Stephen Copsic. There is Max Hanley. And when we were in Anderson, South Carolina a couple of weeks ago, he had an interesting scenario because his brother Jack was getting married the very next day. We're in South Carolina, and he had to drive 12 hours overnight to do all the photos and everything before the wedding for his brother. But he made it in time. He told me here today, did not get in trouble with the family, but Max was pretty good in practice earlier today as well. And we're looking to see him kind of improve where he's been. He was 13th quick in practice earlier.
And I feel like South Boston's a little bit of a racer's racetrack, and so that's going to fit into Henley's hands a little bit more, and I expect to see him kind of progress through the field slowly, and as the long run comes in, to see how that 45 car comes in.
Yeah, he has some crate modified wins, and now he's in the big horsepower with the big tires in the Tour Type modified class. So we'll see what Max Hanley can do here today. We're moments away from qualifying at South Boston Speedway with the Smart Modified Tour, just about 4 minutes away. We'll be right back here on FloRacing. In the Commonwealth of Virginia for the Smart Modified Tour powered by Pace-O-Matic. South Boston Speedway, this place situated about 60 miles east of Martinsville, Virginia. And next week, the NASCAR Cup Series heads to the paperclip of Martinsville Speedway. The NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour will be there as well. That'll be a Friday night. You'll be able to see that on FloRacing as well. So lots of modified happenings going on in Southern Virginia over the course of the next week or so. We're awaiting qualifying for the Smart Modified Tour. First car that will be going out into the racetrack, a Pace-O-Matic number 16 VA. Little story behind that. NASCAR Cup Series winner Elliott Sadler making a return to racing here at South Boston Speedway, where he was a track champion years ago. Elliott Sadler had other commitments here today, so Junior Snow actually will be behind the wheel of that race car, and they have a little mission here during qualifying. They don't want to burn up those tires, but they just kind of want to scuff them in a little bit.
Yeah, you want to put that one heat cycle on them so that when you start the race, the tires aren't completely cold and it throws Sadler for a loop. So this is going to be good just to kind of warm them up and really get those tires good for tomorrow.
So here we go with qualifying for the Pace-O-Matic Pole Award here today at this 0.4 of a mile racetrack. First car up will be the Pace-O-Matic number 16 VA. Behind the wheel of that out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina, it's the Snowman Junior Snow. And Junior Snow, a winner in NASCAR modified competition at Bowman Gray Stadium in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. He'll be competing there full time again. You can see those races live on FloRacing. First lap on the racetrack for Junior Snow, 15:086, 15:086. He said he was going to take it easy. Well, he's not taking it too easy. He's enjoying this opportunity to get behind the wheel of a bad, fast race car. 14:470, the lap of record. He sets the pace here after one car is out on the racetrack. So good time for Junior Snow, driving for Elliott Sadler. Sadler will be behind the wheel of that race car tomorrow here at South Boston Speedway. The number 23 on the racetrack now out of Hillsborough, New Hampshire, in the FleetInc.com, Joe Dara Enterprises, Better Way Supply, Canfield Plumbing Machine. It's Brad Zahansky. Brad with some success behind the wheel of race cars in New England, especially at places like that. Claremont Speedway. I've been to both of those racetracks. Pretty bad to the bone racetracks up in the Atlantic State. First lap on the racetrack for Zahansky, 14:759, just a little bit behind, 0.3 of a second behind the second lap for Junior Snow. Let's see what Zahansky can do on his second lap. Zahansky, 14:530 in his first attempt here at South Boston Speedway. Currently second quick here in qualifying. Machine, and this guy had some success here last year. Driver of the number 51 out of Sugarloaf, Pennsylvania. You gotta love that town. I want to visit it just listening to it. In the Harmon Funeral Homes, Waynick Construction, S.J. Kowalski Heating and Cooling Troyer Machine. This is Jaden Harmon. Harmon last year at South Boston Speedway in the King of the Modifieds, a 10th place finish. Pretty impressive. Top 5 in ROC modified competition last year as well. Let's see what he can do here. He's got 3 starts with the Smart Modified Tour. First lap on the racetrack, a 14:696, about 0.2 of a second off of the 16 VA for Elliott Sadler, driven by Junior Snow. Let's see if he can pick it up here on his second lap. And he does. Moves to second quick, 14:492. And the reason why it is so important, not only for starting spot, but the top 8 after qualifying have the opportunity to redraw for their starting position in tomorrow's 125-lap race. You see the sticker tires on the 66 machine out on the racetrack right now out of Danielville, Pennsylvania, and a home-built race car with an RPM engine underneath the hood. LOI kits and LOI Industrial Services on the side of this car for Austin Koshnash. Austin making a second trip to South Boston Speedway to compete in the King of the Modifieds. Let's see what he can do on lap number 1. He takes the white flag, and Koshnash, 4th quick, 14:588. So he's going to have to pick it up here in the second lap, and that turn number 4 can be Wallace for a lot of these drivers. Nice and easy to the throttle he goes. Does it pay off? It does. Austin Koshnash goes to the top of the board with a time of 14.427. And again, it was Junior Snow behind the wheel of that 16 GA, which will be driven tomorrow by Elliott Sadler. Driver of the number 22, a little bit of a surprise here because he was behind the wheel of the number 21 earlier in the day out of Reedy Creek, North Carolina, in the Carolina Drilling Barrier Farms Fury machine. It's the nice guy, Jimmy Wallace. Jimmy with rear end issues on his number 21 machine, and that's why he's behind the wheel of his teammate Jason Tuttero's car. Jimmy, a full-time competitor in the Smart Modified Tour. First lap on the racetrack for Jimmy Wallace, 14.512, 14.512. The driver of the 22 here today. Let's go to Derek Perniciglio. No, before we do that, a big wiggle by the number 22 coming off the corner. Jimmy Wallace almost bit it, Derek.
Yeah, well, you were talking about Jimmy Wallace having a tough day today, Bob. Of course, he had problems with the primary car, went to the number 22 car, but that didn't end there. The day started off with actually their hauler breaking down, so they had a tough time getting to the track. They got here late, and that put them behind the 8-ball all day.
Bad break for him, but at least he has that backup car that he can actually qualify with here for the King of the Modifieds event. Next up on the racetrack at Elizabeth, Connecticut, in the Dolly's Collision and Custom Legion Speedway Coke Sunoco Troyer machine. He drives this car for his 5CT of Chris Pastriak, a multi-time modified racing champion, 13-time winner in that series. Pastriak to the top of the board on his first lap, 14.56, first driver in the 14.3 area. So he's looking good, a lot better than he did earlier today, and he improves it on his second lap. 14.296, the time to beat now during Pace-O-Matic Pole Award qualifying for the Smart Modified Tour. Earlier today, this number 33 machine, I was just giving a note, clutch issues, and that's why he got a little push right there, hoping to fire it up, but right now, does he get it going? Indeed he does. Karsten D. John Tomaso in the number 33 machine, a part-time competitor for the last year or so out of Jackson, New Jersey, in the 1-800 Autoland John Blewett Inc. Troyer machine with that Nordwick engine underneath the hood. Right now, trying to get up to speed, coming to the green flag, but having some sort of difficulty with this race car. Looks like Karsten is just going to take the green flag, not really get up to speed. They have some work to do still to that race car to get that clutch issue situated. So he'll probably pull down into turn number 3 on pit road. Does not do that. He'll go into turn number 3 and 4, and I believe you'll see this car. Maybe I'm wrong. Absolutely, I'm not wrong. What's going on, Derek?
Well, you guys were just talking about Carson D. John Tomaso having a tough day out there today. Obviously, he's rolling down the front straightaway right now. But an interesting side note about D. John Tomaso: when he's not racing and driving a race car, he's fighting MMA.
That's pretty wild. That's something I didn't know. Oh, so that's a pretty maybe Derek. Here's the next driver on the racetrack, the number 20 machine out of Callaway, New Jersey, in the Jersey Shore Contracting Iron Revolution LBI Pest Control FNO race car, new brand to modified racing for Jerry Cradle. It's Paulie Hartwig III. Hartwig, so good at New Smyrna Speedway earlier this year, back during Florida Speed Weeks. 1 tour type modified win, 2 great modified wins, and Hartwig goes to the top of the board, 14.140, quickest time, not only on the first lap, but all together during qualifying here. He's got the fastest time. Can he improve? Maybe get down to the 13-second bracket, just misses that here. 14.012. By the way, just in case you're wondering, the track record here set a couple of years ago by Luke Baldwin in 13.6. So next car on the racetrack out of Walnutport, Pennsylvania, and the Katie Wolf Trucking, a Lewitt and Freeman Real Estate, Harry's Upullet Troyer machine for Jake Chrisman. Chrisman has gotten a lot lot of experience, but not in the modified. He had 2 top 5s last year in the Racing Champions Modified Series, but a lot of people know him for his super stock prowess up in the upstate New York region. And he's done well in the New York Super Stocks as well as the ROC Super Stocks. First lap on the board, and Chrisman goes 14.414, first lap, third quick. Pretty impressive run for that driver making his first start with the Smart Modified Tour. Kenny unseat Hartwig at the top of the board. Second quick, 14.171 for Chrisman. Great run by Jake in that number 48 machine. You can't miss that car on the racetrack at all. Pulling off, Austin McDaniel in the number 14 machine, one of those Racing Electronics Rookie of the Year competitors with the Smart Modified Tour. He hails from Harrisburg, North Carolina, with the Honda of Concord. Edward Jones Management, the Nor Group of Alcova Mortgage Company. Kevin Hughes is the car owner on this machine. It's a Troyer car with a Tony's engine underneath the hood. As we mentioned, a 2-time late model stock car champion for Austin McDaniel. McDaniel learning the modified ropes here, and it can be a tough place to learn a race car. 14.322 in his first attempt here at South Boston Speedway. Pretty impressive run for him so far in qualifying. Can he pick it up a little bit? And he does. Second quick, 14.110 for Austin McDaniel. Good run for that Honda of Concord race car. Here's another one of those Racing Electronics Rookie of the Year competitors now on the racetrack for his qualifying effort. He's out of Northport, Long Island, New York, in the William Team Platinum Pressament.com Skip Barber Racing School PSR machine. This is Will Lambros in the 77. All of that 600 horsepower underneath the hood of this car, and he almost didn't get turned coming off of turn number 2. A little bit of a butterfly moment for Will Lambros here as he takes the white flag. Let's go to Derek.
You guys were just down there talking about Will Lambros, but he has a veteran crew chief turning the wrenches on that car this year. Eddie Harvey, who has won championships in the NASCAR Wheeling Southern Modified Tour. He's had success with Andy Seiss. He's also had success with Jamie Tomeno in the past. Now turning the wrenches on that 77 car of Will Lambros.
Yeah, Eddie Harvey has worked with so many good drivers over the year. Andy Seiss, George Brunholzl III, and so many others. His dad owned cars for the likes of Jamie Tomeno and more, from Wall Stadium to the NASCAR Wheeling Modified Tour. Next driver on the racetrack, by the way, overall so far here in qualifying. Out of Ontario, New York, in this Troyer machine is Trevor Catalano. Catalano with 1 win on the NASCAR Wheeling Modified Tour a couple of seasons ago at Speedway, New Hampshire. One of the many Catalanos that race modifieds across the Northeast. White flag in the air. Catalano second quick with that number 56 machine. 14.081. Catalano hoping to pick up some steam coming off the corner and get a little bit slideways. And that's going to hurt him, I believe, a little bit indeed. His second lap not as quick as his first, so Catalano stays second overall. Making his return to the Smart Modified Tour Wars. One of the veterans with more than 150 wins in his career. They call him Showtime. He's out of Howell, New Jersey, in the VCU Massey Comprehensive Cancer Center John Blewett Inc. PSR chassis machine. This is a PSR house car for Blewett. We'll see what he can do here. I know his buddy Skip Flores is actually watching today. Helping with the broadcast with Skip next week at Martinsville Speedway live on FloRacing. Blewett. Fourth quick first lap, 14.125 for the veteran racer. 100 wins at Wall Stadium Speedway alone, and great to see that trend back in prominence again this year. Blewett second quick on his second lap, 14.045, just misses fellow New Jersey driver Paulie Hartwig III. Here's another teenager learning the ropes of modified racing, and he's a fourth-generation modified racer out of the Myers family from Walnut Cove, North Carolina. And the Bryson Brothers Aerial Solutions electric PSR car. This is Slate Myers. Slate, Will, told you something earlier today about it seemed like he had a little bit of nerves going into the session.
He mentioned about how tight this field is and how you have to be mistake-free on your laps if you want to be in that top 8.
Myers 14.180 on the second lap, trying to go easy back to the gas pedal here. Will it improve him? And it does. He bumps up to third quick. Another one of those drivers, 4 overall in the 14.02 bracket, a 14.045 for young Slate Myers. Here's a guy that's been pretty busy over the last couple of weeks since we last saw him in Anderson, South Carolina. Jack Baldwin became a dad, and he and his girlfriend doing very well, baby as well. Beautiful daughter for Jack and his young family right now, and now he's back in his office in the Stoke Shoes number 7 NY machine. Jack, best finish in the Smart Modified Tour second place run. He's out of Mooresville, North Carolina in this race car here today at South Boston Speedway. And Baldwin, good qualifying effort, 6 quick on his first lap, 14.130. By the way, I can't believe his dad, Tommy, is now a grandpa. He said that's a moniker that he's going to be very proud of for quite some time. Baldwin will jump up to second quick, 14.030. Paulie Hartwig, the third, remains top on the speed charts here, about halfway through qualifying. There's Jack's brother, Luke Baldwin, next up on the racetrack. He drives the number 7 VA. He too out of Mooresville, North Carolina. Pace-O-Matic, Stanley Law Group, and Mohawk Northeast on the side of this race car. By Bill Stanley and Hermie Sadler. And we know Hermie Sadler, how much he loves South Boston Speedway. Was a regular here back in the day in the late model stock car ranks. This is a PSR chassis with a Robert Yates for Luke Baldwin, the 2-time and defending Smart Modified Tour champion. Baldwin bests his brother on his first lap, 14.017. He's got to pick up 5 1,000ths of a second to unseat Paulie Hartwig. Can he do it? Fast time so far in qualifying for Luke Baldwin. Baldwin hoping to rebound after a tough outing in the season opener in Timminsville, South Carolina back in late February. Justin Mincy, by the way, holding the stop-and-go sign at the end of pit road. This driver, a former winner with the Smart Modified Tour out of Jackson, New Jersey, in the North American Construction Candlewood Landscaping team. Scott Clark in the Fury machine for Justin Gumley. It's the wild child, Barney. Here at South Boston Speedway. A little bit of a wiggle there for Barney coming to the white flag, but Barney is pretty quick here. 8th quick overall, 14.131. Barney holds it down below the yellow line coming off of 4. Barney will move to 4th quick overall, 14.034. You brought this up earlier. We'll take a look at how close the qualifying is in that top 10 so far.
Yeah, it's really, really tight. That top 8 is less than 1/10 of a second separating each other. So you have to be flawless, just like Slate mentioned, if you want to be any chance of the redraw.
Out of Medford, New York, and the Hydro Action Sludgehammer Industrial Solutions prototype fabrication car for Joe Denseski. It's Mad Max Handley in the number 45. This is a good-looking race car, by the way. It just looks fast here in South Boston Speedway. White flag in the air. First lap is complete. And Handley, 10th quick overall, 14.265. For Max Handley, 13th quick in practice earlier today. Handley, Racing Electronics Rookie of the Year competitor, moves up a little bit on his second lap, 14.107 for Handley in the 45. This has been a fast race car, one of only 3 drivers who have led laps in the first 2 events of this season for the Smart Modified Tour, powered by Pace-O-Matic out of Newport, Tennessee, in the Mount Airy Toyota Cherokee Underground, the Drive Shaft Shop prototype race car. This is the Snake, Jake Crum, and the 1JC. Jake Crum, this is his own team this year. He's been fast so far. He's fast again. Best first lap so far, 14.005. The 13.998 for Luke Baldwin, the top time. Can Crum get it? Does. Jake Crum, the Snake, to the top of the board in Smart Modified Tour qualifying for the King of the Modifieds at South Boston Speedway.
And it looked like he was a little loose there. And you know what they say in racing, loose is fast, as Crum puts it at the top of the board by 1/1000th of a second.
One of 2 winners in the Smart Modified Tour in 2026, now on the racetrack out of Freehold, New Jersey. Cutting Edge Stoneworks, online partners, BKA Properties, Dancer Farms, Troyer Machine, and the spec engine underneath the hood for Danny Bone in the 25. Danny, 11 races over the course of the last half a year or so, 9 finishes in the top 5 with 3 victories, and Bone is pretty fast. I know he's going to want to do it a little bit better than what he did on his first lap, 14.148. This is a track where he's led laps. Best finish is 3rd at South Boston Speedway, but Bone hoping to put it in the top 8 and does barely. Right on the bubble for the possible redraw. 8th quick for Danny Bone, 14.067.
And coming out of 2, he really had to fight that race car, so he kind of lost a lot of time coming out of 2, and if you're Bone, you just kind of hope you put a little bit better of a lap together.
Are you ready for the Mac Attack? That's what's on the racetrack right now. Out of Babylon, New York, in the Jamie and Cheryl owned machine. That's an FNO race car for Sean McIlerney. McIlerney, 3rd generation race car driver, and he too looks like a little bit talented on the corner for McIlerney. He won the Pace-O-Matic Pole Award earlier this year at the season opener in Florence, South Carolina. McIlerney, first lap on the racetrack. He's way slow. Was not expecting him to be down in the 20th spot after his first lap on the racetrack, but McIlerney jumps up a little bit, 13th quick overall. And remember, when he went down to Anderson, South Carolina a few weeks ago, those were the first laps in that race car. Here's a kid, he's a teenager who was pretty quick earlier today in practice. Driver of the number 40 machine. He's a 2nd generation driver. His dad is Jamie McMurray, former Daytona 500 winner. Carter McMurray out of Cornelius, North Carolina, in the Bass Pro Shops. PSR number 40 with HendrickCars.com on the back of that car for the first time in his career.
A little bit of updated paint scheme too. This 40 car just looks gorgeous on the track.
Yeah, he has a top 5 to his credit in Smart Modified Tour competition. McMurray 12th quick, 14.154. He was really smooth, took a bunch of laps in practice earlier today. Let's see if he can improve just a little bit here as he takes the checkered flag, and McMurray does improve to 10th quick. Derek?
You know, you were just talking about Carter McMurray out there driving the number 40 car. His crew chief on the car this weekend is Darren Shaw, who is actually a Cup crew chief for the number 62 team in the NASCAR Truck Series. So Carter McMurray has a crew chief with a wealth of experience behind him turning the wrenches on that car this weekend.
Out of South Bend, Indiana, the number 2 machine on the racetrack. Bass Pro Shops, Cabela's, Capital Automotive Group, and Aggressive Hydraulics on the side of this PSR car. Renfro in this machine for the Rocket Man, Ryan Newman. Newman, 3 wins last year. He's got a runner-up a couple years ago in Smart Modified Tour competition. But he's going to have to pick it up a little bit here. 6 quick, 14.042. Can he get to the top of the heap here today? Only 2 cars in the 13-second bracket. Well, guess what? Add another car. Ryan Newman to the top of the board, 13.927, quickest so far in qualifying for the Smart Modified Tour.
That car looked like it just handled perfectly for the situation and just able to shoot to the top with just a great driving race car.
Polaris Outdoors, Kevin says yes.com on the side of this 04 machine. Black and blue this year for the driver out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina in this Fury machine. It's two-time NASCAR modified champion at Bowman Gray Stadium, Brandon Ward. Brandon, a good run for him last year here, contending for the win until late in the going. Ward, 12th quick on his first lap. Did not take as many practice laps earlier today as a lot of the other competitors. They were very happy with that race car. Let's see what Ward does on his second lap. Goes all the way to second, 13.941. How about that? Now 4 drivers in the 13-second bracket. It'll be 5 at the end of this driver's run. And the number 1 machine out of Walnut Cove, North Carolina, in the Citrus Ave Cleaners Choice Tire Generator Super Center, Renegade Fuel Backyard Leisure Pool and Spas PSR. His wife Kim owns this car for the ace, Burt Myers, a 3-time Smart Modified Tour champion.
What I'm watching for is these cars exiting 2, and who can keep the wheel steady. Great exit there for Burt, and it seems like the cars that can keep that straight wheel out at 2 are the ones that are turning these sub-14 laps.
That car wanted to break free coming off the corner, but he was able to keep it under control. 15th quick, 14.132. He's got to do a little bit better. Burt Myers wants to be in the have to be in the at that. Burt Myers will remain 15th quick overall. No, he does not. I apologize. Scoring updated a little bit slow right there. Burt Myers, the ace, jumps to second quick. 13.939. I think this track is getting just a little bit quicker as we go on in qualifying. Still a handful of cars left. This driver out of Norwalk, Connecticut, in the FH Future Homes Blue Mountain machine, load and lock self-storage, all-trade construction Fury machine with that Robert Yates Racing engine, spec engine underneath the hood for Ron Silk in the 16. Silk, a 2-time NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour champion, led 34 laps in the King of the Modifieds last year. Silky always fast in qualifying, and he is again here today in South Boston. 13.991 is only the start. In addition to last year, back in 2019, when the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour visited South Boston Speedway, Ron Silk is silky smooth here at this 4/10 of a mile oval. Quickest so far in qualifying, 13.789 for driver 16. Out of Miami Springs, Florida, in the Brembo Brakes Molecule Sports, Walker Performance Filters, Driver Fine, SRI Performance Bilstein Shocks machine, that's easy for me to say, and a Fury race car. It is the Gray Ghost 02 for Joey Coulter. Coulter, a 2-time winner in the Smart Modified Tour, but man, he's had a tough start to the season.
He really has, and it's really nice to see him with this speed, and you just gotta hope he stays consistent with it as he jumps the 6th on the first lap with a sub-14.
Pretty impressive. Joey Coulter, 6 quick. What will he do as he crosses the finish line here, coming to the checker? Joey Coulter will jump up to 5th quick, Derek.
Yeah, a nice, strong run for Joey Coulter, especially after having a rough week. That's the second car they've gone through. This car that he's in today was a bare frame earlier in the week. They destroyed their other car in Caraway last Saturday, so they brought this car out, and it just got reclipped, and they scrambled all week to get it together, and a good, strong run for Joey Coulter going to 6th, going to 5th.
We are excited about this next car, expecting a strong run out of him because he was very fast in practice. Out of Orchard Park, New York, in the USNE CR Creative Wildell Communications, Marnell Hedquist is the crew chief on this machine for Patrick Emmerling in the 1 New York. Emmerling, 2nd quick, first lap. That's the quickest first lap of record during qualifying. 13.819, hoping to improve by less than a 1/10 of a second to go to the top of the board. Does he do it? No, he does not. He remains 2nd quick, just a little bit of a slip up there, and we thought that some of these first laps would be the quickest of all for these drivers here today. Just 2 cars left in qualifying. Here is the 1CT now coming out onto the racetrack. This driver finished 2nd in the King of the Modifieds last year out of Newtown, Connecticut. In the Karchner Warehouse and Logistics, Franzosa Construction, Harry's You Pull It, Newtown Pools, Troyer Machine for Stephen Copsic. This is a good-looking race car, brand new machine for Copsic today here at South Boston Speedway. Might have some problems with his engine after that qualifying run. Steven Copsic goes fourth quick, 13.929 for the driver of the black and silver number 1. We are getting further reports from Burt Myers. Burt saying as they tried to refire the engine as he pulled to pit road, it does not sound right. So we will keep you updated on that. I'm sure Derek Pernissiglio will have all the scoop on that. Here is the final car on the racetrack for Pace-O-Matic Pole Award qualifying, and he was quickest earlier today in practice, driving the number 15 at Lexington, North Carolina. Illinois Transmission, Steve's Tire and Automotive, and QMF Metal Fabrication on the side of this PSR car. For Shady Grady Racing, it's the kid, Carson Lofton. Lofton, third quick first lap, 13.884. Could Silk go down? To the line we go. Last car, quickest overall. Carson Lofton will pick up the Pace-O-Matic Pole Award here today for the King of the Modifieds at South Boston Speedway. You knew Carson Lofton would be quick, always very fast in qualifying. He won at Caraway Speedway last week in an open competition tour type modified event, kind of the precursor to coming here. Carson Lofton looking good at South Boston Speedway. A couple of years ago, he had a great run here, finished in second in a smart modified tour event.
That Shady Grady 15 car has been fast all season long too. So it's just going to be interesting to see and hope that they can keep the mechanical issues away, because it seems that every time they're fast, they get plagued with some kind of mechanical issue.
You are correct. Last year we saw that time and time again. We saw that earlier this year with Carson Lofton behind the wheel, but hopefully the gremlins are not in that race car this year here at the King of the Modifieds at South Boston Speedway. So it's Carson Lofton winning the Pace-O-Matic Pole Award. We will hear from some of these drivers in our post-qualifying show coming up here at Sobo.
Welcome back to South Boston Speedway, South Boston, Virginia, for the King of the Modifieds, presented by Pace-O-Matic and Dominion Energy. Carson Lofton, the youngster, goes to the top of the board. I guess they saved the best for last from qualifying, didn't they?
Yeah, we had a really fast car in practice. I knew, I was going to have a really good car there. I overdrove a little bit my first lap, but, I had to underdrive my second lap to make sure I didn't mess up. But just super thankful for these guys. Guy thanks Steve's Tire and Auto, Island Art Transmissions, Tony's Competition Engines, Herd Hobbies, just everybody on this thing, JT Services for everything they do. Just I can't thank this group enough. Just bad, fast race car.
You're running 2 series this year, the Cars Tour late models and the Smart Modifieds. With all the laps that you're getting, is it helping you in any way, even though you're driving 2 different types of cars?
Yeah, it does for sure. It just helps me overall as a race car driver, going from the late model to these. The late models really help me in these cars just because it just bounce between the two because they're totally different race cars. But like I say, just super thankful. Hopefully got a really good car for tomorrow, and hopefully it can be the king tomorrow.
Nice run. We'll talk to you at the redraw.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
That's Carson Lofton. He is your fastest qualifier for the 3rd annual King of the Modifieds, Bob.
Teenager doing double duty again this year, part-time with the Smart Modified Tour, as well as full-time, as Derek mentioned, in the ZMAX Cars Tour late model stock car class. So Lofton gets the nod here during qualifying. He will then actually have a redraw. He'll be able to pick out of a hat. He'll be able to pick a 4, a 6, or an 8 pill. By virtue of that number that's selected, that many drivers from the results of qualifying will redraw for their starting spot in tomorrow's Pace-O-Matic King of the Modifieds presented by Dominion Energy. Let's take a look at what shook down during qualifying for the Smart Modified Tour powered by Pace-O-Matic. And the number 1 car of Patrick Emmerling, very fast in qualifying. He had a very good run and hoping for even better tomorrow here at South Boston Speedway. He was so good in qualifying, but he's one of the best in modified racing across the country right now. Ryan Newman had a good run as well. Newman very fast in that Bass Pro Shops number 2 machine. That car has been very good here at South Boston over the course of the last couple of years. There is Patrick Emmerling. I think we were showing Steve Copsic initially, but Patrick Emmerling in this car here had himself a good qualifying effort. In the 3rd spot, Stephen Copsic in the 1CT was 5th. There is the 16 car of Ron Silk. Silk 2nd quick overall in qualifying for the Smart Modified Tour. And Silk is going to be a contender for 125 laps on Saturday here at South Boston Speedway. But nobody could top Carson Lofton. This kid with 6 wins in the Smart Modified Tour over his few years of driving with the Smart Series, and he gets the Pace-O-Matic Pole Award for the King of the Modifieds presented by Dominion Energy. Momentarily, we will go down trackside for the redraw. You see Derek Perniciglio working hard down there. Ryan Newman is down there. Matthew Dillner as well. We're getting the drivers to get to the victory lane area of South Boston Speedway for the redraw. And again, just to remind you how it works here today, by virtue of being the quickest in qualifying, the number 15 of Carson Lofton, he will reach into a bag that has a pill for a number 4, a number 6, and a number 8. And no matter what one he picks, say he picks a 6, then 6 drivers, the 6 fastest drivers will redraw for their qualifying spot. So it determines how many people redraw from that initial draw from the bag that Carson Lofton will do. And then each driver will have the opportunity, by virtue of the number of drivers that he does select, redraw for their official starting spot in the 125 lap race. As I go down in qualifying a little bit more, Burt Myers, who we heard was having some questions about the engine after qualifying, 6th overall in speed. 7th place, Brandon Ward. Both of those drivers definitely championship contenders with the Smart Modified Tour. 7th quick overall, Brandon Ward. 8th quick was Joey Coulter. 9th quick, Jake Crum. Jake Crum, a contender here, runs very well at South Boston Speedway. And Luke Baldwin, the 2-time and defending Smart champion, 10th overall during qualifying at South Boston. So let's find out what's going to happen with the redraw. Let's turn it down to Derek, who's standing by trackside.
Well, but first, before we do the redraw, they're actually going to draw for who gets the free Hoosier tire. So our fast qualifier, Carson Lofton, is going to pick the car number for whoever gets the free Hoosier tire from the Hoosier Tire contingency plan that we have here. Go ahead, Carson. So let's see, which car number gets the tire? 32. All right. So the 32 machine will get the free tire. 30-second qualifier, I'm sorry. And we're going through that right now. Justin Mincy is finding out all the qualifying results and all the information. So 30-second, it's pretty deep in the field, but we got to redraw. Okay, we're going to have to redraw and do it one more time. So here we go. Justin Mincy with the bucket. Carson Lofton goes to grab another one. And where we got 30th. Boy, you're batting 1,000, aren't you? So who gets the free tire? 33. Okay, 33 DeJohn Tommaso gets it. So now we're going to pull out of the bag to see how many cars we're going to invert. We've got chips in there with 4, 6, and 8, which means we will invert the top 4, the top 6, or the top 8. And you're probably hoping for a 4, aren't you, Carson? Here we go. Carson Lofton reaches in the bag. It's a 4. There we go. All right. So that kind of worked out for you.
Dude, I tell you, I'm probably one of the worst redrawers. I just pulled a 32 and a 30, and then I pulled a 4, so I got lucky there. If I used all my luck up now.
Well, hopefully the third time is the charm. So here comes Chris Williams with the Smart Modified Tour Pole Position Award for the King of the Modifieds here at South Boston Speedway. Of course, Pace-O-Matic providing the sponsorship for our Pace-O-Matic Pole Award. Carson. Justin, he picks number 4. He'll be on the outside of row number 2. Here comes Patrick Emmerling, another driver of the number 1 car, and he will pick another chip, and he'll get the 3rd spot inside row 2. So that leaves one more position, and here comes Ryan Newman. And Ryan Newman gets the number 1. So a really good qualifying run for you. Now you've got the pole for tomorrow's race. That's got to put you guys in a good position. And what does it do for the strategy for tomorrow?
Good question. We got till tomorrow to think about it. This track's really fast. South Boston's narrow, but it's got a lot of grip. So having the preferred groove going into the first corner is definitely going to be an advantage. The real key is going to be figuring out what the pace needs to be. And you got guys here from the north that are wheeling guys that have different perspective on pace and race. So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. Just got to thank Bass Pro Shops, Capo Auto Group, Aggressive Hydraulics, Montrose Molders, and everybody that helps support the team to do what we do. We're enjoying it, and happy to at least be in the 4th to get the lucky Ford redraw and have a shot at the number 1.
Well, being that you are on the pole and they say the leader sets the pace, will that give you an advantage of setting the pace on the rest of the field?
Well, I'm going to set the pace to turn 1, but it all depends on what we do going into turn 3. So, ultimately, it's a long race. A lot of things happen. There's a lot of cars here. Track position is going to be important. It's not like you can go to the back and restart 12th. You're going to go to the back and restart 30th. So, there's a lot of strategy that we'll have to think about. That's a little bit different than a typical smart race.
Ryan Newman in the Shitty Coolers number 2 is going to bring the field to the green tomorrow for the 3rd annual King of the Modifieds. You know, Bob, you can always count on Ryan Newman for an entertaining interview, can't you?
Indeed. He's got a little sarcasm to him and a little humor for sure, but Ryan Newman, so much fun. Derek, I want to talk to you a little bit about what we just saw here, because a strong field of modifieds for the Smart Modified Tour and the King of the Modifieds event. But, if you take a look at the first 2 years of this event, it's been interesting. There's been strategy, there's been aggressive racing, there have been a bunch of wrecks as well. What do you expect out of this one here tomorrow with the bright sunshiny skies expected overhead? All right, and I think we lost Derek's microphone.
There we go.
He is.
We've got it working.
Absolutely.
It didn't work that time. You were talking about what to expect from tomorrow. Expect the unexpected. We honestly don't know what's going to happen. None of us can tell the future, but we do know it's going to be an exciting race. And in the past, It's usually had some long green flag runs to it, and as the race got into the later stages is when that pin started to slowly fall out of the grenade, and then some action happened on the track. We saw it in turn 1 last year with Baldwin and Crum getting together, and then of course we saw it late in the race with some accidents, and then of course Matt Hirschman setting the pace for the rest of the field and then coming out the winner. So really tomorrow we can expect the unexpected, Bob.
Well, let's just address the elephant in the room, too. Matt Hirschman, the defending winner of this race, not with us at the Smart Modified Tour King of the Modifieds at South Boston Speedway. Matt, one car at his disposal this year. He is running full-time, going for the championship with the NASCAR Wheel of Modified Tour. They run next Friday at Martinsville Speedway, just down the road from here. So Hirschman making sure that that car does not get harmed here this weekend. Ron Silk also running for the championship with the NASCAR Wheel of Modified Tour, but he's got a different car that he'll run next week at Martinsville. Here's the schedule for tomorrow with the Pace-O-Matic King of the Modifieds presented by Dominion Energy. 1:30 p.m. live on FloRacing. We'll have pre-race ceremony, and then the racing begins. We'll have the Southern Ground Pounders, and let me tell you something. This is not just vintage racing. These cars are real race cars. We got modifieds, we got late models, we got all sorts of race cars here, and they'll put on a great show with the Southern Ground Pounders. Then the Centra Health late model stock cars will be on the racetrack for 100 laps. Yes, that's the NASCAR late model stock cars that compete here regularly at South Boston Speedway. And then the King of the Modifieds for the Smart Modified Tour after that. All the pomp and circumstance, the declaration that will be read in Victory Lane afterwards, and then the crowning of a king at the end of 125 laps. Wow. We've had a busy day here today. It started out with, some incidents in practice, a couple of engine failures, some people and teams working hard overnight, like Joey Braun, who did not qualify. He'll be putting a new engine in that 24 and come back here tomorrow to race at South Boston Speedway. Folks, we hope you join us for tomorrow's Pace-O-Matic King of the Modifieds presented by Dominion Energy, live on FloRacing, 1:30 p.m. right here at South Boston, Virginia.